Now, what is it that we're going to be doing? Well, first and foremost, if we do nothing else but find ways to be better in prayer for one another, then that's an absolute success of this group. So that's our first foundational practice that I want us to be doing as families just a little bit more, is how can we be aware of each other's lives just a little bit more and be more intentionally in prayer for one another. It's always easier to be in prayer for people who have similar experience as you and have shared similar struggles as you. If I struggle with depression and somebody comes up to me and asks me to pray for them because they're depressed, I'm going to have so much motivation to pray for them. In the same way, if you have certain struggles and anxieties and worries and concerns about raising kids, and you ask me to pray for you with regards to your struggles with raising kids, I know what that feels like. And so do most of us in this group. We know what that feels like. And so we just have that much more incentive to be praying with one another. So that's the foundational practice that I want us to be doing. And hopefully there'll be aspects of this Facebook group where we'll be able to name our prayer concerns a little bit more and to be aware of each other a little bit more. So prayer is the foundational activity, and to be connecting with each other a little bit more with regards to prayer. The second thing that this group is going to do is focus in on some shared practices that we can do, specifically with regards to our kids. What habits do they need to be doing on a daily basis that's going to contribute greatly to their spiritual formation? As I mentioned before, part of the spiritual formation of our youth and even us happens in this place. All of those things are on hold right now, and it's going to be really easy for us and our kids' spiritual lives to atrophy. And so what are going to be some crucial habits that we can focus on and that we can cultivate within the lives of our kids that will help strengthen their spiritual life? Because if we have to go through another semester like this past year, we will continue to atrophy. And so we have to be intentional about what are going to be our crucial habits and activities that are going to go towards the strengthening of our spiritual lives. So I have a few suggestions with regards to that. They're really, really small. I mean, we're talking if your kids don't have any spiritual disciplines or practices in their lives, we're talking 9 minutes a day, 5 days a week. That's not much to ask, okay? So, and then some of you already have practices. Your kids already have spiritual discipline practices in their lives. And so what we're talking about there is really not adding any time, just slightly changing the focus a little bit in some of those activities. So we're not talking about much, but these are going to be, I think, crucial habits to build on that we can reinforce when we come together on our Zoom meetings or when we meet one-on-one. If these habits are in place, we're really going to have a sense of synergy with regards to that. Not only that, but when we have shared practices like prayer, but I'll have a few other practices that I'm going to introduce later on, that's another way to not only strengthen our spiritual lives, but it's also another way in which we connect when our kids are doing this activity and they also know that other kids in the church are doing the same activity. That's a way where we remind ourselves of our shared identity, our shared community. And so shared practices are really important in terms of not only building spiritual formation, but also making us aware of our connectedness to Christ.